2-2? Okay. All right, guys, come all the way down to the front. Come all the way down to the front. The back sections are going to be for breakout sessions later on. So please come all the way down to the front. Come all the way down to the front and fill in the row. Come all the way down to the front. Fill in the rows. The back sections are for breakout sessions later on. Come all the way down to the front. We should only have enough students who can fit right here in this front section. Come all the way down. That's fine. Come on down. Come on down. If your Tiger 10 was called, I believe that was Nolan, Sprague, Bolus, Jasmine, and there's one more, Simon. Come all the way down to the front. Come all the way down to the front. We should have just enough space. And then go all the way to the end so people don't have to walk over you. Go all the way to the end so that people don't have to try to climb over you. Come all the way down. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come all the way down. Come on, guys. Come all the way down. And then scooch is a word. Scooch all the way to the end so that people don't have to climb over you. Yep, come on, come on, come on. We're running out of time almost. Scoot down to the end so people don't have to try to climb over you. Come on, come on, come on. All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. And now we begin. Mrs. Quick, come on down. Come on down, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning and welcome. Okay. Oh. You have those 2 name tags, Mrs. Halliday? Oh, they're here already. Okay. All right. So this may be the most intimate of sessions that we may need you. I might need you to use your okay. Aubrey. Okay. Timer. We might need you for a timer person. Okay, if you'd be so kind. Okay, all right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our first Human Pathways Assembly. So, actually, let me put it this way. Welcome to our first Purpose Pathways Assembly. So, this is the Human Services Pathway, and you all get to be the ones who actually experience this in person. There are people all over the rest of the building who are watching this live, okay? But you guys get to be here. Now, some of you are here because your teachers or your classrooms are here. So don't take that for granted because sometimes things happen when you least expect them. So you're here for a reason, even if you didn't know that you were going to be here. Don't take for granted opportunities that could be right here that you didn't know were for you. Okay, so that being said, I am going to move out of the way. I want to make sure that that our guests have your full attention, okay? So we want to make sure their phones are put away, that we have earbuds, earphones off. We want to give them our attention. They took off work to come here and to talk to you, so we're going to give them our full attention. We're happy that you're here. Okay, and so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Quick and Mrs. Slingerland, and they're going to give you a little more information, and we're just going to get started. And you'll see how this goes, and then after it's over, we'll probably need to get some information from you guys about how we can do the next one, because some of you may end up at the next one as well. All right, thank you very much. Let's give her a hand, Mrs. Quick.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mrs. Quick. So I just want to let you know how we're going to operate today. So first, we're going to go along the panel, and they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves. And then afterwards, we might have a quick Q&A. And then after that, we have breakout sessions. So there are signs all around the room, and we'll be able to do breakouts after that, okay?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please give everybody up here a round of applause. So some of these individuals, even though it is part of human pathways, human service pathways, there are other pathways that might merge with them. So for example, if we have a paramedic, that's also health sciences. So we're going to start with the far left for early childhood. You guys have roughly about 5 minutes to speak about what it is that you do. There are some questions in front of you if you guys need to just answer those questions. Okay, sorry. Chief Monte.
I apologize. I got to stand when I talk. Thank you all for coming out today. My name is Josh Monte. I'm the Deputy Police Chief in Van Buren Township. I've been a police officer for about 30 years, or I'm coming up on 30 years. I actually retired from the city of Romulus as a police captain. I spent a year with the state of Michigan doing investigations. I've done a lot I've been very fortunate to do a lot in my career. I was a detective, I worked undercover. Most of my career was spent in the detective bureau, and then I started promoting up through the ranks. I got into the field, being a police officer wasn't something I always wanted to do. I knew growing up I wanted to go into a career where I helped people, and I came from a family of educators, and my dad was a school teacher, and that's kind of what I knew. So I figured that was the path of least resistance to get into this. So I went to Eastern Michigan. I got a teaching degree. My last year at Eastern Michigan, I was classmates with a Detroit police officer, and he was doing the opposite. He was going from police work to teaching. So I rode with him for a couple of times in the city of Detroit, and I had fun. It was independent. You're kind of by yourself. You're on your own. You help people, and I was really started to become drawn to that career. So that's kind of how I ended up becoming a police officer. It wasn't something I always wanted to do, and frankly, I really wasn't fond of the police growing up. I got a ticket out here in Main Street by the city of Belleville that I tried to fight in court and won. I got a ticket by Van Buren that I deserved for speeding. So it wasn't something that I always aspired to do, and I didn't know anything about the field. The only thing I thought that police did was write people tickets. So when I actually got into the job and learned the intricacies and how much you can actually help people and make an effect on people's lives, it's actually been an extremely fulfilling reward. Probably one of the most important characteristics of this job is having integrity. We all make bad decisions in our lives. There's a difference between making a bad decision and having integrity. And that's why I always tell people, I tell students that I've made bad decisions in my life, things that I'm not proud of, but I always try to do the right thing. I always try to make it right. So, as you guys move forward in your careers, depending on what you want to do, we need police officers. We need people with integrity. We need people with empathy. We need people that can, help victims, look out for victims, and protect victims. So, by any means, if anybody wants to come into the profession, please let us know, because we're always looking. If you guys have anything specific for me, I have a meeting I have to get to. Let Officer Vargas know. I'll give you guys a call. Help you out. I didn't know anything about the career. I have no family, friends that were in law enforcement, so I kind of had to figure my own way out. I think that's about all I got to say about that. So, I'm also a proud graduate of Belleville High School. So, go Tigers. Thank you.
All right. Hi, my name is Cassidy Taylor. I am an early childhood specialist for Van Buren Public Schools, so I'm just across the parking lot here at the ECC. I have worked in Van Buren Public Schools since 2014, and I was in Farmington Schools prior to that. So some of you out here I had in preschool, and then I also was at Edgemont Elementary, so I recognize some of you from there as well. So basically, where my career started is when I was in high school, we had something similar to the teacher cadet program that we started here. It was called Kitty Campus in Plymouth Canton Schools, and we got to go to the preschool and work with the kids there, and that's where I really started falling in love with the preschool classroom. But still, I really thought I wanted to go into elementary education. Also, when I was in high school, my youngest brother was about 5 years old at that time when I was about a sophomore, junior. So I loved when he'd come home and I'd get to do his homework with him. So I just was really drawn to teaching in some way. So right out of high school, I went to Eastern Michigan University and I started in elementary education with an endorsement in early childhood education. So that kind of opened up the doors so that I could go either way, whether it be preschool teaching or elementary teaching. And because of that endorsement, I had to do 2 student teaching placements. So I did one in first grade and then another in preschool. And although I really thought I wanted to do elementary, that student teaching placement just kept confirming for me that I really love the preschool age. So I took my first job in Farmington Schools as a preschool teacher, and then got involved in the GSRP program, which is our Michigan state-funded preschool program for 4-year-olds. And traditionally, that was for children who were from low-income families or were at risk for educational failure in some way. And I found that really rewarding to be making such a big difference in kids' lives back then. Now Governor Whitmer has moved toward opening that opportunity for all kids. So her goal by 2027 is to serve every 4-year-old in Michigan with free, high-quality preschool. So that's where we're going to need a lot more of you that may be interested in early childhood education, because these jobs are going to be opening right in time for you to be graduating and coming into those positions. Let's see here. So in order to be a lead teacher in early childhood, you traditionally need a bachelor's degree and a teaching certificate, but there are some alternative ways to go about that. There are typically more than one adult in each early childhood classroom. So with a CDA, you can be an associate teacher in those rooms immediately, or even in some tuition-based programs, you can take on the lead role with a CDA, and that's a Child Development Associate's degree. And then in order to do what I do now, so to explain my role now in early childhood specialist, I work in a coaching role with the teachers. So I get to go into their classrooms and help them be the best teachers that they can be. And I also am the connection between our school district and Wayne Risa in ensuring that we're following all the guidelines and whatnot as well. So I love my role over there. I get to go into all of the classrooms and interact with all the kids and teachers. So in order to be in my role, you have to have a master's degree. So eventually, after I was teaching for about 10 years, I went back to school to get my master's so that I could do what I'm doing now. If you're really thinking about teaching, or early childhood education goes up to age 8, so really up to 3rd grade. So if you're thinking about those lower grades, there's some great benefits to it. First of all, you get to have a positive impact on kids' lives really early on, and it makes a difference. Research about brain development tells us that 90% of that brain development happens before the age of 5. So you really are making a huge impact, and you can see the growth at that age. Like from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, you see how much these kids have learned and developed. So you just directly get to witness that. You get to be creative, lighthearted. You get to have so much fun with these kids and build relationships with the families that last forever. I see some families still at football games and whatnot, and it's just really nice that you get to build that bond. And you also get to be a lifelong learner if you go into education. You really never stop learning and getting better at your craft for kids. And so, all right, so I'm going to pass this on now to Ms. Bolus.
Hi, guys. My name is Erica Bolus. I'm an English teacher, journalism, and teacher cadet leader here. This is my, I believe, 9th year at Belleville, but my 17th year teaching overall, I think. I'm losing track in my old age. I was originally, before Belleville, I taught at an alternative school where students had struggled with obtaining all of the credits that they needed to receive their high school diploma. And prior to that, I taught at a juvenile justice center which was juvenile detention in Macomb. So I became a teacher because I am a lifelong learner, kind of piggybacking off of what Ms. Taylor said. It also gives me an outlet to be very creative, and I am a type of person who needs that outlet because it's very cathartic for me to be creative in the lessons that I create. When I first wanted to become a teacher was probably in high school. I had a teacher named Miss Cozen. She was my newspaper teacher, and she really inspired me to go into English. And because of that, that is why I really pushed for the student newspaper to be started here at Belleville High School. So I'm really proud of that. But because of my experience in her class and the love that she had for her students and the love that she had for reading and writing really inspired me to become a teacher. And that's hopefully, you know, what I'm doing for my students in my class every day. To be a teacher, once I got out of high school, I went straight to Western Michigan University where I got my bachelor's in education, where I majored in English and minored in communications. So if you are planning on going into education, you do need a bachelor's degree. With also a focus on a major and a minor. You could double major, it just depends on what you want, but it's the subject area of what you're interested in. So if you want to go into math, you have to major in math. If you want to go into science, you have to major in science. So you have to decide that when you are in pursuit of your degree at the college that you're planning on attending. Typically, a lot of teachers do end up getting their master's degree. I did get mine about 10 years into my career in ed leadership, so that way maybe I can move around a little bit later on in my career. I would say the most challenging thing about our job is that there are a lot of factors outside of our control that we want to fix and we want to help. And sometimes the hardships that our students face, maybe they're experiencing poverty or bullying or other hardships, sometimes that can be emotionally and mentally taxing on us. It's all worth it because we're all here for the students, and that's the number one thing that we are here for. I would say the most rewarding part of the career is inspiring others, and I'm going to lift this up and put my microphone down. Kind of cool. I received a t-shirt that says, "I've inspired a tiger." One of the varsity football players gave me this and a nice little certificate. So just knowing that you're helping students on a daily basis is really what keeps me here, because it is super rewarding. Some of the skills that you're going to need in order to become an educator is definitely compassion. If you don't care about kids, it's really not the place for you. If you're creative, that's definitely a really good skill to have, because you always have to find new ways of delivering materials to students to make sure you're really engaging them. You definitely need to be organized and reflective, because you want to make your lessons better each year and your units better each year. And then if you are interested in going into education, take Teacher Cadet. I see a lot of my Teacher Cadets in the audience here. It's a really fun class. You learn about child development. We go over to the ECC, where they get to actually work with the preschoolers and learn how to develop lessons and have a really good time. And if it's something that you are really interested in, you could eventually take Teacher Cadet 2, where you get put into a classroom where you are actually engaging with the students and creating lessons. So it's a really neat program, and it definitely gives you a lot of opportunity to learn more about the field of education.
Thank you, Ms. Bolus. We're going to move to Ms. Lauren Rainey.
All right, good morning. My name is Lauren Rainey Borgdorf, and I am a clinical therapist. I know I recognize some faces. I just recently left my role here at BHS working with student attendance, but right now I'm entering my, I think, 5th year of doing therapy work, and I've just recently started my own private practice this past June, so that's kind of the reason for my transition. So my journey into deciding I wanted to be a therapist was actually pretty up and down. I attended the University of Michigan, and my goal was to become a lawyer. So I majored in sociology with a minor in Arab and Muslim American studies, and my goal was to become an immigration lawyer. And I was taking a lot of classes in that field, and then doing internships and things like that. Was plugged in with a lot of nonprofits where I felt like a lot of times we were talking about issues and how they were affecting individuals' mental health. So from there, I decided to pursue my master's in social work and clinical social work. And from there, the rest has kind of been history for me. I didn't always know that I wanted to do this, but it's definitely a field where I feel like I have a lot of strengths, and it was kind of my calling. So like I mentioned, the level of education would be typically within the field of social work is a master's degree, but there's a lot of other ways that you can kind of work around that. So with clinical social work, you do kind of have to build up a lot of clinical hours and get feedback and supervision and things like that. I would say the most important part of that is kind of figuring out what areas you are most passionate about. So for me, I really wanted to do trauma work with kids, and that's where I started out in this field. I was working at a childhood advocacy center in Detroit, where I was working with children who were victims of violent or sexual crime. And that was a very intense job for me. I loved it, but I think that a big challenge in this field is kind of recognizing where you need to be taking care of yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You always have to be taking care of yourself in order to take care of others. So I would say that's been the biggest lesson for me, and that was a big reason that I decided to move into private practice, where I had a lot more freedom in my schedule, and a lot more freedom allowed me the opportunities to take care of myself a bit better, so that I could pour into my clients. So now at this point with my private practice, I work primarily with adults and teens who are neurodivergent. So adults and kids who have autism, ADHD, OCD, things like that. And I really enjoy that. I find that no day looks the same as the next, and I think I really like the variety. I like the research that comes with being a therapist, kind of always being able to learn from my clients, in various ways, learn about different approaches and how I can, just bring a new perspective into the challenges that they face on a day-to-day basis. I would say if you want to go into this field, it is really important for you to find the issues that you're really passionate about, and also really examine the ways that you care for yourself. Like I said, you can't pour from an empty cup, and I feel like a lot of therapists end up kind of burning out of the profession because they come in really strong and really passionate, but they're kind of neglecting themselves. And so I think that's been the biggest lesson that I've learned, especially with kind of starting my career during the pandemic, which was a really intense time for everyone, and not really knowing how to approach each new day. So that would be kind of my biggest piece of advice with that.
Thank you, Ms. Rainey. We're going to move to the next speaker, Ms. Jessica Thomas.
Hi, my name is Jessica Thomas. Sorry about that. My name is Jessica Thomas. I am General Manager of the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Belleville, and also Corporate Regional Sales Manager for the 3 hotels on the northbound service drive, the Holiday Inn, Hampton Inn, and Town Place Suites. I actually didn't really choose my career. I'm a little bit different than some of the other speakers up here. I don't have a high school diploma. I have a GED. I did not attend college. I was awarded the state until I was 21. I My career kind of chose me. I knew I wanted more. My mom was a housekeeper. I was 17 years old and had to get a job. I was in semi-independent living, and I started working at a hotel by stripping the rooms. Back in the day, you couldn't touch the chemicals if you were under the age of 18, and I was 17 and had my own apartment and had to pay bills. I worked my way up to the front desk. I worked my way up. I've worked every position you can imagine within the hospitality industry. I've been in the industry for over 28 years. I've been a housekeeper. I've been a director of sales, or sales manager, general manager, regional manager, you name it, I've done it. I've been a banquet server. I've been anything you can imagine. I took on any responsibility, and I did anything and everything I could do to learn more in my field. I was a single mom with 5 kids, and I did what I had to do to take care of them. I knew I wanted more. I knew I didn't just want to settle, so I always continued to push and to learn. If there was an event going on, I wanted to meet the people that were in charge. I wanted them to know who I am. That way, if they wanted to come back, come see me. Some of you guys have been to my property for birthday parties, graduation parties, wedding ceremonies, things like that. People think of hotels as just fun. We are actually essential. We have, when COVID hit, we housed the people for the DTE nuclear in Monroe. They were sequestered on one of our floors, so that way we could still have power. When you have a house fire and you need shelter, we provide shelter. Clark Towers in Ypsilanti, it's a senior home. It was, I will not forget it, day after Valentine's Day. We can all imagine how those rooms looked, and we were all busy, and we got a call that the senior home caught on fire. Next thing we know, that there are ambulances pulling up with people on stretchers and wheelchairs, and we have to flip and get ready, get these rooms set up to take care of them. There's different things that can happen in the field. The most challenging part of my career is absolutely the same as the most rewarding part of my career. It's the people. People make or break you, and I tell everyone every day is an adventure. And my favorite saying is, it's always a good day to have a great day. Don't take a bad moment and make it into a bad day. People are also always challenging. You never know what they're going through. Have a little bit of compassion. It goes a long way. I have internal and external guests. I don't ever say the word employee because we're a team. I work beside my housekeeper, scrubbing toilets, getting the puke and all the nasty crap, and I'm also checking people in and doing what I have to do. We had the honor of hosting 15 National Guard yesterday. I get a call that they're supporting Secret Service, and hey, we need 15 rooms right now. Can you help me? Gotcha. We need to go eat dinner. Where can we go? Well, I know a lot of the owners, so I drive business into the downtown area with the Show Your Key and Save. Made a phone call to one of the local restaurants here. I have the National Guard coming in. They want to have dinner. Can you help me? Absolutely. What time are they coming? They went, they had dinner here in our town. They enjoyed it, and that's rewarding for me. I have team members that have started with me, and it was their first job straight out of high school. Learning, they reach out to me years later, and now they're working for the city. They're doing this or that. We go around in our morning stand-up, so we know what's going on within the community. We give back with our our mitten tree. We have our Christmas tree in the lobby. We decorate it with, our community does, our guests do, with hats, gloves, and mittens. And we donate it over to Van Buren Public Schools. We give back by our soup for the Super Bowl, and also just being active within the community. I am also on the Van Buren DDA and an active member within the Belleville Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. We're going to move to Ms. Lisa Nolan.
Okay, good morning. My current career is, I'm the cosmetology teacher here at Belleville High School. I am a cosmetologist and an instructor. What made me to decide to go into this field? I was in high school when I started cosmetology school. I was actually in the 9th grade. I think my counselor was tired of switching my programs, and so he said, try this. I tried cosmetology. My mom was laid off during my high school years, and I had to pay for all of my senior activities, pretty much. And so I found I made money at it, and I was pretty good at it. I'm going to wrap it up because I see Ms. Slingerland looking at us. When did you know that you wanted to be a hairstylist? When I won first place in a hair show. That's when I knew. I said, I think I'm onto something here. And so, and so it just kind of blossomed from there. What level of education is needed for this career? 17 and a ninth grade education. You do need a GED or a high school diploma, hint, hint. You definitely have to finish school, but you can start the program in the 10th grade here at the high school. That will help you to get an early start. What was the most challenging part of my career journey? Deciding to leave my Burger King job. Is that like hilarious? I didn't realize I was making more money doing hair than I was at Burger King, and somebody had to tell me, you need to give that up. And so that was the most challenging part. Hair has been a wonderful addition to my life. The only thing I did different was I decided to go back to school as an adult to become a teacher, because I recognize I like sharing and I'm good at it. And so I love teaching. I've taught on the adult level, and now I went back to Ferris and got my bachelor's. I have a teaching certificate, and now I'm in public education, and it's the absolute best.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan. I'm gonna move you on only for time purposes. I apologize.
Okay, Ms. Slinger.
This is Chief Fall from Belleville Police Department.
Hey, good morning, guys. Like Ms. Slingerland said, my name is Kristen Fall. I'm the Chief of Police here in Belleville. I started my career 25 years ago with the City of Belleville. I started off as a road patrol officer, and closely to 20 years ago when the district decided that they wanted to implement the school resource officer program, I was one of the first officers that came into the building to create the SRO program that we currently have. What made me to go into this field? Pretty quick and simple. I'll age myself. 2nd grade, Michigan State Police came to my elementary school with McGruff the crime dog, which back then was kind of like a DARE program, but just seeing that officer in his uniform and his presence, I was like, man, what a career. That is a great thing. That's what I'm gonna do. So at 2nd grade, I decided I wanted to go into the line of work that I'm currently in, which is kind of, it's not a huge thing, but a lot of people never have that choice or that drive since they were in 2nd grade to do what they want to do. So it's been a wonderful career for me so far. As far as education, when I graduated high school, I went to Central Michigan University, fire up chips, and I graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology and psychology. You do not need to have a criminal justice degree to get into law enforcement. At a minimum, you need a associate's degree, which is equivalent to 2 years at any college that you choose. The most challenging part of our career, I would say, is trying to leave my job at my job and not take it home and bring it home to my husband and my 2 kids, which was really hard in the beginning, but you have to learn to separate that this is a job. It's not my lifestyle, but like I said, the challenging part for me was learning how to break that. I'm not bringing drama into my house from my day at work. I'll deal with the drama the next day when it comes back. So to me, that has been the most challenging part. The most rewarding part of my job, plain and simple, helping people. I love to help people. I love that when I get out of my patrol car and I'm on the road and I walk into a party store, everyone knows me by my first name because I've been around for years. Working with you guys has been a most rewarding because now some of you, I was the SRO when your parents were in this building. But just learning for me that people know, like, hey, you can go talk to Officer Fall, Chief Fall, and she'll help you out. She'll do what she can to get you on the right arrow, which has been pretty awesome. Some important skills and characteristics to be a police officer, to kind of pony off of what Deputy Chief Monty said, is you got to have integrity. You have to have empathy, and you have to have the ability to talk to people. When you are dealing with people, like he said, we're not out there just writing traffic tickets and trying to arrest people. 90% of our jobs, we are counselors. We're being called to a house on the worst moment of that person's life. You don't know what they're going through, and you sit there and you try to talk them down, and before you know it, they're good, you've built rapport, and then when they deal with you again, they already know, oh, thank God it's you. I like you, you've talked to me before. So you really have to have that inner people skill to talk to people and see their side of everything. Not everything is black and white. There's always gonna be a gray area. and what students need to do to prepare now. If you want to be a police officer, feel free to come up and talk to me, but you definitely need to have some kind of college education. It's imperative, but you also, like I said, the communication skills, you have to be able to learn to write. On a daily basis, granted, like I said, we're counselors 90% of my job, but you know, the one part about our job is you never know what's going to happen in 30 seconds. And that's what drives me, is that adrenaline dump, like, hey, now you're on a hot call, you got to go. But yeah, okay, you got the satisfaction of taking someone to jail and it was a great day for you, but 90% of after that is paperwork. You have to know how to read and write. You have to be able to tell the story of what happened in a flowing way, so when the prosecutor reads it or a defense attorney reads it, they're going to be like, okay, I have an idea of what actually occurred that day. And apparently I'm done, so thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
And by the way, I'd like to make an appointment to get my hair done.
So we're going to pause just for a quick second. If you are part of a Tiger 10 that was down here, you guys can head out quietly, please. But if you are part of the Human Pathway Services, we're asking you guys to stay. Mr. Stewart, I'm going to move you guys to the last, so I'm going to go with Carrie Carpenter next. All right, Ms. Carpenter, you are on.
All right, I am Carrie. I am an EMT and paramedic student for Huron Valley Ambulance out of Ann Arbor. We have a couple different locations. I've actually been in this career for about a year and 4 months now. This is my second career. I decided to make a huge career change. I was in sales and jumped ship and got into public safety EMS. I'm going to steal your questions so I can see them. I really just need a change of pace for what I was doing. Sales was nonstop, and this I got to somewhat leave when I left work. So that's what made me jump in. Really, the first day of class was when I knew that I wanted to be an EMT. I get to help people on what is generally their worst days. When they're having their emergencies, I get to come in and help. Along with fire and PD, we get to help everyone and try to improve that and make the best out of a really not great situation. The education I have a high school diploma, Belleville grad. And then you go get your certificate. So you get an EMT certificate. It's typically a 16-week class. And then you can choose to go on and get your paramedic license. And that's a 13 to 18-month program, depending on where you go. You can then go on to get a mobile intensive care unit certificate. And you can go all the way up to be a flight nurse on survival flight with that, and a nursing degree. So there's lots of different avenues you can go. We also have community paramedics that come and try to actually keep people at home instead of getting them to the hospital and do treatments at home. So those are also options. The schooling is definitely the hardest part, I think. I am not a book learner, I'm a hands-on learner. So we do book learning and skills labs, so that's where I excel. Math is not my forte, but we'll get through it, and there's lots of help along the way. Most important skills, you have to be able to talk to people. You have to be able to communicate to your partner. You have to be able to communicate to the emergency room staff who's coming in, and you have to be able to communicate over the radio what's going on that's pertinent to the situation that they need to know so they can be prepared ahead of time. Right now, to prepare for something, if you wanted to go into this type of field, there is a program at William D. Ford that you can go and get your EMT certificate while you're a high school student is an option. At Huron Valley Ambulance, we have an academy, which is a paid program. They'll pay you to go to school and pay for your school. That is how I got mine. There is a paid tuition program that you can go to, but there's also Schoolcraft and many other college programs have where you can get an associate's with your EMT or paramedic.
Officer Vargas, we're going to skip you for right now. We'll go back to the SROs last. Ms. Brooks.
Hi, good morning. I'm Shantanique Brooks, and I am a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for about 4 years now. I kind of decided to become a lawyer after college. I was interning at Fox 2 News. I actually wanted to be a journalist. And so I wasn't really ready to go out into the workforce. And so my mentor kind of was like, a lot of the skills that you need to be a journalist, a lot of times people go into law. You do a lot of the same things. Public speaking, you do a lot of reading, writing, researching, and you speak to people a lot. And so I thought about it and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I'll go ahead and do it. So that's when I kind of knew that I wanted to be an attorney. To become an attorney, you need to have your high school diploma, you need to go to college and get your bachelor's degree, and then you need to go and get your Juris Doctorate degree, which is a professional degree. So that's about 7 years of college after high school. I would say the most challenging part of my career journey would be working with people. People are just unpredictable. Sometimes they can be just hard to work with, but at the same time, it does feel good to help people when they're not understanding things, to be able to explain a legal situation, to kind of assist them through a problem, or when they just don't know what to do. And just being able to educate them. And I would say with regard to important skills and characteristics that you need, you definitely need to be a strong reader, a strong writer, and to be able to publicly speak. You can't be afraid to get up in front of people that you don't know, to argue different points. You have to be a strong listener. You have to be quick on your feet. When people ask you things, you'll go in front of a judge and they'll ask you some background information and you have to be just well versed. And you also have to be able to say, I don't know, I'll go back and research that, or this is how I think this will work out, or something of that nature. So you have to be strong in doing that. To prepare for the career now, I would say to probably find a mentor who's probably already in the legal field. Just ask them, maybe I'm interested in being a lawyer or a paralegal or something criminal justice involved. Would you shadow, can I shadow you, or can I just kind of see what you do on a day-to-day basis? And then that will kind of give you a feel of if you are really interested in that, and do you have skills that could kind of transfer into that career, and then from there just kind of strongly move into really continuing on to schooling.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brooks. This is Ms. Kirby.
So I also am an attorney. I work for the state of Michigan, and my job title is called an assistant attorney general. What I do is I work in the criminal division, I work under the special victims unit, and I primarily prosecute criminal sexual conduct crimes and domestic homicides. So I really work every day with people as well, and I would echo everything that Ms. Brooks said about education. That's the same way that I did it. I graduated from Belleville High School, I went to Eastern, and then I went to Wayne State. I was not necessarily sure what kind of lawyer I wanted to be when I started, so the best thing that you really can do is to go shadow people, because you don't know until you're in it. And you might think you want to do something, and then you go and you think, wow, this is awful. I could not imagine myself doing this every single day. And so originally I got a health administration degree from Eastern, and I really thought I wanted to do health law and work in a hospital. And I went and I shadowed, and it was awful. So there are a lot of people who want to do that, and that's great. We need people to do that. But for me, I then got an internship at the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and I was able to kind of work in a bunch of different units and get exposed to a lot of things. And I realized that a lot of people do not have a voice that are victims, and they're not able to tell people what happened to them for numerous reasons. And so I wanted to be able to be their voice and be able to represent them and to lift them up in order for them to speak about what happened to them. And that's the hardest part about my job, is because I'm asking people every day to tell me one of the most traumatic things that's ever happened to them, and I'm a complete stranger. So that's very difficult, but it's something that I take a lot of pride in. And I would say, if you're thinking about being an attorney, you do need all the skills that Ms. Brooks said, but I wasn't the best at writing, but I worked towards it. And you can continue on that, and there's tons of people actually here that can help you, that are excellent writers, and that can at least review your stuff. And when you move on in education, you can also ask your professors, hey, can you give me some hints, or can you help me? And that's how you become better at something if you're really passionate about it. I was always a big talker. I talk nonstop, so I knew that practicing law would not be a problem and speaking in front of people would not be a problem. I love talking to people. I love hearing their backgrounds and things that happen to them. And so I think if you have any interest in that, don't give up, because I was told numerous times, I don't think you could make it. And not just when I was in high school. Before I got the job I got now, there were tons of people who said, I don't think you're going to get that. And you just need to remember that you know who you are and you know what you're capable of. And I think that would be something that I would have wanted to hear in high school. And so even though we sit up here and we talk about, oh, we did all this and all these things are great, and we did do a lot of work to get here, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. And it doesn't mean that you can't start today and think, oh, I want to do this. I see all these people. I'm going to go start shadowing, because you might want to be the person that makes a difference in someone else's life.
And Caitlin Kirby is also a Belleville High School graduate. Yes, and this is Mr. Edwards.
Hi, how y'all doing? I like to stand up because I'm really the short guy and I can't see everybody. I'm also a graduate from Belleville High School. I graduated like 30 years ago, like 93. I graduated in 93. I think this is the first time I've been able to be on this stage and not get yanked off and be in trouble as well. So I was the clown of the school, which was fun, before they let police officers come in. We were some of the reasons why y'all are here now. But I am a cosmetologist. My name is Joe Edwards. I own Joe Edwards Salon in Belleville, which I've been there for now 21 years. I've been doing hair for a little bit over 30 years. What made me want to choose this career? If my mother was here, she would cringe, but I'm just gonna be honest. Women. I wanted to be around women, and I thought it was gonna be a very, very easy career. Also, the guy who was cutting my hair at the time, he just seemed to be really cool. And so I thought it was easy at 18, 19 years old. You don't really know what you want to do with your life, so you try to pick the easiest thing to make money. But as I got into the field, being in school, being the jokester, I didn't take it serious for the first 600 hours of school until I was embarrassed in class, and they said that you would never do it, you would never become good at it, and why don't you join the rest of your friends who are probably gonna die or end up in prison? So from that point, I said, who are you to tell me what I cannot do? I went back and took all my tests and graduated from beauty school on time. So what do you need? You need a high school diploma. The great thing about it for me was, because I wasn't a very disciplined young man at the time, was I didn't accumulate a lot of college debt because I would have just wasted my parents' time and effort. But I do encourage you guys to get extra education because you can run your businesses well. I've had the opportunity to travel with this profession. I've traveled all over the country. I've worked for companies such as L'Oreal, Mazzani, Design Essentials. I was the youngest person to ever work for Clairol Professional Color at 21 years old at a main stage trade show in Chicago, and also in other various trade shows like Florida and Atlanta, where they pay you to come and explain what you're doing. Just because this career looks easy does not mean it does not take a lot of effort. My average work day on Saturday starts at 4:30 in the morning, and we see some of the officers getting off their shift, and we see some of the officers coming in. But when I was told that I could make as much money as I wanted to, that's when I was sold. Every client is considered a raise if you retain the client. But you have to be punctual, you have to be professional, you have to be fun. But there's a client for every personality. I'm the fun guy. I know a couple of stylists that they're not as fun, but they have a certain clientele for them. Magazines and hair shows. It's been very, very rewarding. I've actually been able to put 2 kids through college and maintain a pretty decent lifestyle. What I do enjoy about it, it's a skill. So with this particular skill, young ladies and young gentlemen, the reason why these teachers encourage you to have a skill or development, because someone can come up to me and take my sweater. With my skill, I can go buy another one. They can come and take my chain or my glasses. My skill, I can buy another one. But you also have to continue getting education. Trends change all the time. You know, hair color changes. You got different hair textures that change. Things that go on in people's body. People don't understand that when you graduated from cosmetology school, you actually have an associate's degree in chemistry because of chemicals that you use. But that is my time. I'll hang out for a little while. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. And last but not least, our SROs, Officer Vargas and Officer Stewart.
See how you get treated when you work here?
This is amazing. All right, so my name is Juan Vargas. You know, I'm originally from Colombia. I didn't go to school here in America. I didn't even speak English when I came here. I've been a police officer for 8 years. 6 of those years, you hear me now? 6 of those years I worked in Detroit police. So my reason to be a police officer is a little bit different than for most. You know, long story short, police was terrible back home. They didn't do anything for us. They were not helpful. They didn't really help anybody if you didn't have money, which we didn't. So I always knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know how. Went to the military, went to the Army. I did explosives in the Army. That didn't really fulfill my need to help people. So becoming a police officer was just the next thing for me. Felt like I could do more and I could be different from what the police officers that I've seen growing up. So, you know, I was always told police are terrible. They're never gonna do anything for you. So I felt like I needed to prove those people wrong. Show them that not all of us are just like some people will say, we're not all bad. We do care and we do want to make a difference. Education, I just graduated high school. You know, I came to America, finished school, and then I went to the military. From the military, I went to policing. So I didn't go to college. I didn't, you know, we didn't have money to pay for college growing up, so that was never in my plans. I didn't know if I was gonna go to college. I never thought I would, so we didn't have money to do so. So, you know, I got to working right after school, went to the military, and then I became a police officer. I've done everything in these 8 years that I've been here so far. I went to gang enforcement in Detroit. Did a lot of things, seen a lot of things that I probably didn't want to see. But those things helped me become a better person. You know, I understand people better now than I did before. You know, I think a big part of being a police officer is being able to step in somebody else's shoes and understand what they're going through so you can help them better. You know, there's nothing, sometimes we think we have a problem, but then you go and talk to somebody else and you know that they have bigger problems than what you have. So it makes you really appreciate all the things that you have at home and the life that you have. What would I say for you guys to prepare if you wanted to be a police officer? I think for me, fitness is a thing. You guys stay fit, you know, you guys stay, and just honestly be a good person. If you're a good person, you'll be a good cop. You know, if you're a good person, you'll be a good cop. If you can talk to somebody and make them, you know, if you can put yourself in their shoes, you'll be a great police officer. So that's it. It's simple. Nothing too hard about being a police officer.
I'm Officer Stewart. I'm one of your SROs. I've been a police officer for about 3.5 years. I've been assigned to the schools for the next 4 years, so you'll see me for a little bit. My uncle is a police officer. He's a big reason I'm here today. He's in Sterling Heights, and throughout his career, he's still working, but I got to see him go do multiple different things, units, bunch of cool stuff. So it was always on my radar that I wanted to be a police officer. And when I was in college, early college, I did some, my father's in information technology, so I originally started there and was doing internships and the schooling, and I was instantly, it wasn't for me. So I decided I'm gonna go forward with the police gig, and I went to the academy. I finished my degree in criminal justice. I went to the academy, and it's been great. For education, you do typically need a 2-year degree, which is what I have. You can have more. There's a few agencies like Detroit that will allow less, but typically you have to go to college for 2 years. Some of the most rewarding things in this career is you get to see people in their worst time, their worst day, and you get to be a part of changing their viewpoint and making their day more positive and being there for them when maybe no one else is. But the job does come with challenges. I work night shift for a long time. I work holidays. I get to be away from my family all the time. It's not glamorous, but somebody's got to do it, so that would be some of the challenges. And then skills and characteristics, you got to have integrity. You have to be trustworthy. You have to be all these good characteristics, but you also need skills. Problem solving is a big skill. You have to be able to come into a situation and identify what the solution is going to be, what the fix is going to be. That's a huge part of what we do every day. And then for preparing, you can get with any of us. We can try to point you in the right direction. You can go on ride-alongs with departments. You can kind of see what you're getting into and see if it's for you.
Thank you, everybody on the panel. Will you guys please give them a round of applause? We truly do appreciate you coming. We do have different places for individual questions if you guys have individual questions to ask any of our panelists. And then before you guys go, there's cold water in the back if you guys want cold water. We have snacks. But again, give them another big round of applause, please. Not for the students.
We should tell them where they're going.